Hello and welcome. The goal of this training flight is to give you a firm foundation in understanding and interpreting the SPO-15 Berioza Radar Warning System, or RWS. There's a lot to learn in a short time, so you might find it helpful to print pages 179 to 181 in your manual and bring them along. Before we begin, a few notes. You can pause the mission at any time with the S key. This will be especially helpful if you are trying to read the text. Labels are enabled, but I have manually turned them off for this flight. If you take control, you can toggle them on and off with the following key combinations. Shift F2 for aircraft, Shift F6 for missiles, and Shift F9 for ground units. And finally, to take control of the aircraft at any time, press the Control and Q keys. To exit this mission completely, press the Escape key. Thank you. I have control. This morning we'll be penetrating Russian airspace across the strait towards Krasnodar. We'll map their anti-air defenses and see what they throw up at us. In the process, you'll learn about the Berioza's strengths and weaknesses. Okay, let's bring our aircraft to life, starting the right engine. Left engine start. Canopy coming down. And locked. Lights on. Checking the control services, they're free. Okay, let's get this show on the road.
Первый, заглохло руление. 1-1, разрешаю руление на полосу. 1-0.
This is looking like a nice day on the flight line. Okay, let's begin. The Berioza is a passive system that indicates what types of radars are illuminating your aircraft, the direction of the emitter, its operational mode, and signal strength. And knowing the signal strength will give you an estimate of how much trouble you're actually in. Unlike the American RAW, that almost literally paints you a detailed threat picture, the Berioza is analog in nature and tells you a less detailed story through lights and letters. You draw your own pictures. I use a grease pen on the canopy. Other pilots use their knee pad. Take a close look at the display. First, the unit displays a top-down view of the world around your aircraft. Your nose is at the top and your tail is at the bottom. Wait one while I make the turn here. Okay, back to work. These two outer rows of lights are bearing lights. The large orange lights form the outer ring and indicate the primary threat. The system, not you, determines which threat is primary using the priority logic defined on page 179 in your manual. In a complex electronic environment, that determination can be constantly changing. I'll address this once we're in the air. The smaller green lights on the inner ring are for secondary threats. Both rows of bearing lights are positioned 10, 30, 50, and 90 degrees to the right and left of your nose. And one set each of lights denotes the right and left aft position. This row of bottom lights indicates the type of primary threat, radar. The one on the far left indicates an airborne radar. The far right is AWACS. Those in between, moving left to right, are long, medium, and short-range SAMs, and also EWR, early warning radar. Though you can't really see them right now, there are letters under each light representing secondary threat radars of the same type. Do you notice anything peculiar about the threat types? Look closely. 4 types of ground-based threat radars are represented, but only 2 for airborne threats, and one of those is AWACS. The SPO-15 was developed for use in conjunction with GCI AWACS support. Presumably, they would keep you informed of the type of airborne threat you are facing, but for either ground or sea-based threats, you'd be on your own. So this is a weakness if you are forced to rely upon the RWS alone for airborne threats. Unlike the American RAW, the SPO-15 does not differentiate between, for example, an F-4 and an F-15's radar. You'll only know that it's an airborne radar, and unless you've already been informed about the threats that you'll be facing when you are briefed, you'll have to assume the worst. Fortunately, we'll be focusing on ground threats today. Alright, continuing. The row of lights you see here is the light path. It's the signal strength indicator for the primary threat only. It lights counterclockwise as the primary threat signal gets stronger. Maximum strength is indicated by the last bar just before this triangle, which denotes your aircraft. This inner red ring is the lock launch warning indicator. There will be audibles associated with it. You might get to hear them today. These 2 half circles, in theory, indicate whether the threat radar is above or below you. In practice, I find them less than useful and generally ignore them myself. Okay, let's hold short and check for traffic. Everything is looking clear. All still clear. Let's take the runway. Everything looks good.
Первый, разрешите взлет. 1-1, взлет по готовности.
Full military throttle. Check the gauges hold. And rolling. Gear up and locked. At the moment I have altitude hold engaged. If the green light is lit when you take control, press the H key to turn it off. Okay, back to work. As I pointed out, unlike the American RAW, the Berioza is designed to give you general rather than specific threat information. An American pilot, because of his RAW, would know not only that a medium-range SAM was ahead, but also know the type of SAM system it was. You, on the other hand, would only know that there was a medium-range SAM threat. Some might consider this a weakness of the system, but as you'll see today, that's all the information you usually need. The most significant difference between the 2 systems is that you have to draw your own pictures. That or keep it all in your head. Let's talk about how the Berioza determines the primary threat. The greatest threat is always considered to be a radar which is guiding a missile in your direction. The greatest threat would, of course, be an active radar homing missile that has you locked. Next in line would be a command guidance radar because this indicates a launch. Third in priority would be a radar that has you locked. The fourth highest priority is given to a radar in search mode with air-to-air being first, long, medium, and short-range SAM radars being second, third, and fourth respectively. EWR radars are fifth, and AWACS radars are last. If no other factor is involved to rank a particular radar higher, then signal strength is the determining factor. One significant weakness of the Berioza system is that while the system gives you 360 degrees of signal reception, it only covers an elevation of plus or minus 30 degrees. That elevation number is important. If you bank the aircraft more than 30 degrees in reference to the emitter, you might very well lose the signal. This is especially true if the emitter is off your wing. And the system will go silent after its built-in 8-second decay time. Don't be fooled into thinking that he's lost you. Rather, it's the other way around. You've lost your ability to see him. I'll climb above the radar horizon in a few minutes, but before I do, let's go over the physical layout of the Berioza again. These are the bearing lights. The outer row orange is reserved for the primary threat. The inner green row indicates the bearing to the secondary threat. Inside of those is the signal strength indicator for the primary threat only. It has nothing to do with any secondary threat. Inside of that is the red lock launch ring. When lit and solid, the primary threat radar has you locked. When red and flashing, there's a missile trying to kill you. Finally, the bottom row of lights indicates the type of primary threat. The letters underneath indicate the type of secondary threat. As you'll see shortly, though, it can get pretty confused unless you either have a great memory or draw a map like I do. In fact, let's get you set up now. The peninsula is more or less U-shaped, and we're approaching from the bottom of that U. Draw a U on the canopy side with your grease pen. Now we'll just have to fill it in. Okay, so let's go upstairs and get started. I'll climb at a relaxed rate of 10 meters per second toward the radar horizon. No sense in rushing into things. Certainly is a nice day out here. Good day to be flying. A little bit of concern about these clouds, though. There's a bit of haze in the air, but we'll make do. I've done this in far worse weather. We should be coming over the horizon soon. Here we go. One threat showing. Notice the light that's lit, an early warning radar, or EWR. The system considers it the primary threat because, for the moment, it's the only threat. Signal strength is low. So probably about 80 kilometers or so away, given the type of threat that it is. Okay, let's turn away. I'll exceed 30 degrees of bank. As the contact moves towards our right wing, he'll disappear. There. Let's turn back again. More than 30 degrees, but we're moving him back towards our nose so we won't lose him. Okay, we're flying a straight line, and we're going to slowly move him down our right side. When two lights are lit for the same contact, the real bearing is in between. So 30 and 50, he's 40 degrees off our nose. Notice that the signal strength is increasing as the range is closing. Signal strength increasing slowly. Okay, I'm going to turn toward him and put him more or less right in front of us. The signal strength is increasing rapidly. I figured his range was about 80 kilometers before. Signal strength is more or less doubled now, so the range is probably down to around 40 kilometers, more or less. These clouds could be a bit of a problem if we run into SAM, so could the haze. And it'll make them tougher to spot. We actually do have to go looking for them. Okay, remember that U I had you draw? Let's start filling it in. We're pointing right at the heart of it now, coming up from the bottom. By the way, this is something you should know from viewing the mission map. So, up a little from the bottom of the U, mark an early warning radar site. Now, let's fly down the northern coastline and see what we can find. I'm going to take things slow to make sure you can follow what's happening as we build our situational awareness. I'm being careful not to bank more than 30 degrees. We don't want any surprises. Okay, the radar site is moving down our right side 50 degrees now. I'm losing altitude to keep us under the clouds. No medium range SAMs showing on the display, but if we stumble across a short range SAM, it could reach us in a hurry, and I don't want it punching through a cloud at the last minute. Okay, signal strength on that EWR is still growing. He's off around 65 degrees now. Should be right out there somewhere. One thing you'll notice with the Berioza is that there's no audible alert to a new signal, so you constantly have to be checking your display. That means your eyes are going to be in the cockpit quite a bit in a high-threat environment. Oop, new primary threat. Short-range SAM, 30 degrees to the right of our nose. Low signal strength, so he's about 30 kilometers away. Now 40 degrees off our nose. Notice the EWR is still being displayed. This green secondary threat light here and the letter here. Better yet, a medium-range threat is now primary. Whoops, solid red ring, that's the lock tone. That short-range SAM is again primary because he has us locked. Signal strength is still low, probably around 20 kilometers away. The medium-range SAM is here on the display, and the early warning radar is here, now behind our right wing. Flashing red, missile in the air. This is a low percentage shot given the signal strength. We're at the outer edge of his engagement envelope. On your chart, mark a short range SAM about a third of the way up the U's left margin. Okay, let's turn away and climb. We've lost the SAM signal because of the extreme bank. Okay, that's not a new launch. We're just reacquiring the signal. We're climbing. No need for anything dramatic. Like I said, this is a low percentage shot. Oh, another launch, 50 degrees off our nose. Higher signal strength, so we're deeper into the kill zone. Medium range of SAM still in the distance. Let's do some maneuvering, away and up, but again, nothing too dramatic. Okay, he still has us locked, but the range is opening. He's behind our right wing. There's a medium range SAM out there somewhere at 65 degrees off our nose. Okay, our steep bank is playing havoc with the system. The medium, short-range SAM and early warning radar are taking turns as primary depending on whose signals aren't reaching the sensors. So it's been flipping back and forth. Heading back towards the heart of the peninsula. The medium-range SAM is directly ahead, still a low signal strength though. Oh, and there's another signal off to its left. Probably a short-range SAM, and there's our friend off to our right. He's locked us again. And let's see, here's the medium-range SAM, and what I'm assuming is a short-range SAM. Let's find out. If it's a short-range SAM off to our left, we should know shortly. Let's turn towards them. Okay, that was a short-range SAM, 40 degrees to the left of our nose. And again, the signal strength is fairly low. We'll just turn away and climb to evade the launch. And there's our friend again. We're flying between them. Okay, I think our first friend just launched again. Okay, let's just keep climbing. Now we'll start a turn in the other direction to help that missile lose energy more quickly. Boy, they seem upset. Okay, the medium-range SAM is still in the distance off our right wing. Early warning radar on the first short-range SAM site are behind our left wing. That second short-range SAM must be on the same bearing as the medium-range SAM. Mark that second short-range SAM on your chart. Put it about 2/3 of the way up the left edge of that U. Put the medium-range SAM out near the U's top right corner somewhere. Oh shit. The launch warning is late because of our steep bank. This time I think I will use burner. Climbing turn away. We should be okay. Okay, let's go down and cut across the peninsula. Everything is off to our right. The primary threat is the medium-range SAM. Okay, primary threat is the medium-range SAM. Our latest short-range friend is off our, moving towards our right wing there. And the early warning radar still has enough signal strength to reach us out here. I'm going to pass between the medium and short-range SAMs. Primary is still the medium-range SAM. Signal strength is still growing as we get closer. Anything beyond this 12 o'clock position starts to get dangerous. I'm also being careful not to bank more than 30 degrees and shadow my receptors. Let's not have any more surprises. Okay, we've turned between the two SAM sites. The medium-range SAM is now on our left, to the left of our nose, and the short-range SAM is on towards our right wing. I'm going to fly straight for a bit and give us time to pass by the short-range SAM, otherwise we'll turn right back into them. Primary threat is the medium-range SAM. Signal strength keeps growing. We're well inside his engagement zone, but almost perpendicular to him. So no launch, because down here we're too far for a successful launch, I hope. That's Krimsk Aerodrome on the MFD. I bet that SAM is part of its defenses. The direction and range are about right. Just holding steady for a bit. Okay, the medium-range SAM is here. Look at your diagram. This is the early warning radar. This is the second short-range SAM, and the first short-range SAM is too far away for his signals to reach. Okay, based on signal strength, I'd say he's about 20 kilometers away. Here's a general rule of thumb for early warning radars and medium range SAMs anyway, and this is again just a rule of thumb. Each quadrant of the signal strength indicator represents about 20 kilometers in range for them. So very low signal strength represents about 80 to 90 kilometers distance. 3 o'clock would be about 60, 12 o'clock about 40, and what we have now is about 20 kilometers. I'm going to bank away now and open out the range. This is a Napa on the MFD. I'm surprised we're not picking up anything from it. Maybe those hills are in the way. That's the early warning radar that you see there is the secondary threat right now, and that's to the right of a Napa. And a bit farther away. Okay, the medium range SAM is now behind our left wing. Early warning radar is moving down towards our right wing as we're splitting through between the two of them. Once we gain enough altitude, we should start picking up some signals from a Napa. There's got to be something there. Notice that as the range is increasing, with that medium range SAM behind our wing, its signal strength is slowly lessening. So we're moving farther and farther away from it. There's a Napa. I'm really surprised that we're not picking up anything from it. There we go. Short-range SAM has us locked. Notice the solid lock ring and tone. The signal strength is still fairly weak. Even if it launched now, it would be a very low percentage shot. Primary is the short-range SAM. We've got the EWR here and the medium-range SAM back off our right wing. And a launch, of course. Alright, like I said, at that signal strength, it's a low percentage shot, so we'll just bank away and climb. No need for anything dramatic. Okay, that's just him reacquiring again. That's not another launch. That's just us reacquiring the signal again after the extreme bank. That was easy. Okay, so the short-range SAM is still the primary threat. Early warning radar sight is about 10 degrees off our nose, and the medium-range SAM sight just flipped to behind our right wing. I'm surprised they didn't have more out on Napa. Hey, that's fine with me. And now both the medium range and the primary threat, which is still the short range SAM, are behind our right wing. We're coming up on the early warning radar system, which is still about 10 degrees off our nose, now moving to about 20 degrees off our nose. Okay, and now that the short-range SAM no longer has us locked, you'll notice that the primary threat is again considered to be the medium-range SAM because it's the greater threat of the three being displayed. Okay, now we've just conducted an exercise in creating situational awareness with the radar warning system. We took it slow today, but in a high-threat environment, sometimes things happen very quickly. One drawback to the system you'll notice is that your eyes need to be in the cockpit a great deal of the time. Unlike the American RAW, there is no audible to alert you to the fact that you've acquired a new signal. If you don't see it happen, you may not even realize that it's occurred until too late. So when you're flying in a high-threat environment, maintain a good instrument scan. Don't get fixated outside the canopy. Another weak point of the system is that whenever you bank the aircraft more than 30 degrees, you risk losing contact with the signal. Not that the signal has lost you, it's that you've lost the signal. And you might think that they can't see you, when in fact they can still see you very well. It's just that you're not seeing them. So if you bank the aircraft hard and the signal disappears, just assume that it's you missing the signal and not the other way around. Oh, and one more thing. Let's mark that last short-range SAM site on your map. Put it up, about a third of the way up the right-hand side of the U. Opposite the short-range SAM that was on the left. And that should pretty much complete your map. As you can tell, the SPO-15 Berioza radar warning system provides you with a great deal of information. It does have some drawbacks. Some of them are significant. It would be much better if there's an audible alert to draw your attention back to it whenever you acquired a new signal, but there isn't. So you need to do a complete instrument scan and make sure that you're checking the Berioza frequently. Be careful not to bank the aircraft more than 30 degrees, or if you do and the signal is lost, be aware of the fact that it's likely you causing the problem. And one last thing with the Berioza concerning air threats. You really only have one indicator for air threats, airborne threats, and not counting the AWACS. And so you need to pay careful attention in mission briefings so you'll know what type of aircraft you are likely to encounter. Because the display will not tell you, for instance, that it's only an F-5 and therefore easy to defeat as opposed to an F-15. Hopefully you've acquired a greater appreciation of the Berioza through this training flight. There's still plenty of fuel left if you would like to take control of the aircraft and conduct some exercises on your own. Press the Control and Q keys. Otherwise, press the Escape key to exit. Thank you. You have control.